I'm Matt.
I'm Shane, and you are about to listen to an excerpt from a Comic Movie Marks podcast.
So if you like what you hear, make sure you hit that like button real hard, and make sure you subscribe to Comic Movie Marks. And always remember,
if Trailer Trash can do it,
anyone can do it.
Fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. You're cool. And fuck you, I'm out.
All right, so now we're going to move on to the digital release that happened today, Tuesday, February 13th, I think it is.
Yes,
February 13th. The digital release came out. Some people are pissed that there's not that many bonus scenes on it and shit like that and all that crap.
Yeah.
Yep, some people are mad.
I'm shocked that people don't read, because I'm a part of this Facebook group, and someone posted this, basically the two scenes, the two bonus scenes, woo, and then I was reading through a bunch of the comments, and this is where some of the idiots were saying, Snyder fanboys need to get over themselves. There's no Snyder cut out there, and then a couple people were saying, I can't wait. I hope there's more than that. And then other people were commenting and saying, no, don't waste your money if you're hoping there's more deleted scenes. I'm like, wow. Do you not pay attention? And there was several. I mean, this one post had hundreds of comments.
I heard about so many people were mad that there was nothing to it.
Yeah.
There was nothing more than what we got with the theatrical cut, basically.
Yeah.
I remember I heard that was a huge thing, and I was like, why wouldn't you wait?
Right.
Why wouldn't you read some details before you slap down $20 or whatever?
Yep.
Your currency is, if whatever, 20 pounds or whatever the hell it is in fucking England.
Yeah.
It's fucking 3,000
200 pesos. Yeah. 3,000. Yeah.
I mean, you think you would at least fucking do a little bit of goddamn research before you fucking would throw that kind of money at shit.
Right.
But I guess some people didn't, man. Some people were just hoping like hell that they would get a bunch of stuff from Zack on this.
Yeah.
But it's funny too also how they advertise this thing. All these behind the scenes shit and everything all have Zack Snyder in them.
Yeah.
It's like they're advertising a movie that was never even put out.
Right.
I mean, look at those scenes. We'll put some up on YouTube and stuff like that, but look at those fucking pictures they're putting out. This is obviously Superman with no mustache. So these are all Zack Snyder scenes.
All of them.
And I think I'm pretty much right on this, that almost every fucking, except for the Justice League versus Superman fight, which had some parts of Zack. Obviously, there's some parts of Joss in there as well. Do you bleed?
Yeah. And now my ribs, probably. And
yeah, I'm bleeding, and he's holding like his penis or something.
Yeah. Or his vagina.
Very good point. Someone actually had a great fucking thing where it's like Batman saying, "You're not brave. Men are brave," from Batman versus Superman, to him dead on the ground. Something's definitely bleeding.
Right.
Like the difference between the Batman
right.
is just insane. Anyway, that last scene and everything is even the cornfield scene with Lois is heavily modified.
Mm-hmm.
Heavily modified. So I believe the final battle is completely changed. Yeah. I don't think there's one thing in there that is Zack Snyder that I could tell anyway.
Yeah.
When you saw Superman, I'm pretty sure that was all mustache. So if you look at some of these behind the scenes clips, there's him with the Justice League. So this got to be the final battle. No mustache. And they're in poses that I don't remember from the theatrical cut.
Yep.
They're doing things. There's like one part where he's landing on a rock or something like that.
Or it looks like he's getting ready to take off, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's not in the theatrical cut. No mustache.
Yeah.
There are all these scenes that they're putting out and shit. The little scene where he gets into the ship and he finds his black suit and the other things. They're like, that's the shit they're putting out. That wasn't in the theatrical cut.
Right.
That wasn't
None of it.
in the movie.
Right.
Like, they're presenting this movie that never even existed. Or, well, it exists in some sense, but it's something that never even happened. It's crazy how they're advertising it. Like, they know that no one's going to want to see the behind the scenes where fucking Henry Cavill's lip is duct tape.
Right, yeah, exactly.
Shit. No one's going to want to see that. No one's going to see because I remember at the time Gal Gadot was pregnant and they had to put a green screen
over her
stomach to make her not look pregnant. So no one's going to want to see those. And then all the little interviews they're having with everybody and stuff like that, all Henry Cavill, no mustache. So obviously all that shit was done like at the beginning of 2017.
Yep.
All of it, all this material they're producing, all this shit they're showing, all done in like 2017.
But wait, there's no Zack Snyder cut. So how is that possible?
The other nice little fucking nail in the coffin on everybody bitching about Zack Snyder's vision was the scene where Henry Cavill runs down the alley splits the shirt, takes off, and Zack Snyder standing behind him.
Yep. Yeah. Matt said that he noticed that before because there was no mustache, and I didn't even think about that. It just, when you look at how Joss was reshooting everything, he was
score.
It was all nostalgia based, and that's a nostalgia shot right there. And so I was like, oh, of course that's him. That I didn't think twice about it. And then all of a sudden, as Matt said, Zack Snyder's in the background. That was his fucking vision, to ultimately have Superman after his rebirth to be the fucking classic Superman. That was it. That was his shot.
And they didn't even play the Hans Zimmer score.
Right. Like,
it was a different score. It was a different fucking song.
That infuriated me. That I'm like, he gave everyone what they ultimately wanted. He had his vision. He had the circle of life or whatever, Nasavania. I don't know the lyrics of that song.
I don't think anybody does.
I'd be shocked if people do. But yeah, I mean, that was his shot, and it's beautiful, and that's pretty much the only cool Superman shot in his suit that we got that came from Zack Snyder. As Matt said, the suit pissed me off. And then when I'm seeing all of the behind the scenes stuff of how the suit is, it looks just like Batman v Superman. And Matt brought up a great point before we were recording. He said that it's, the coloration that obviously Joss Whedon probably is the person who decided this. Plus a lot of the CGI, it almost looks like Superman's suit is CGI'd in the final battle, in the Flash scene, in post credits or whatever. Like, all this stuff, it doesn't look like really Henry Cavill, and it bugged the crap out of me. It really did. You go from Man of Steel to have such an epic looking Superman to this one, I'm like, man, he just looks CGI'd and just kind of randomly thrown in there, and his face looks messed up, and he's balding, and all sorts of shit.
The way his hair was and shit.
Yeah. It bugged the crap out of me. And when you see all these behind the scenes, I'm like, that's Henry Cavill. That is Superman that we fell in love with Man of Steel.
Exactly.
So
so like I was talking about before, there's the deleted scene that got released of him. The black suit is in there. It was just like how I believe Charles Roven described, that it was like in a cave that he walked by.
Yeah.
And we're still not confirming whether or not he was in the suit. There was some, in those behind the scenes, apparently there was some, someone zoomed in on it, and it kind of looks like Cavill. Like, a lot of people thought this was fan art, but apparently it was actually legit shit. But Cavill was in some art wearing the black suit.
Yeah.
So there was an idea at one point to have him in the suit. Whether or not he was ever in it, I doubt it, because the scene they showed, he obviously walks past it, and he just puts on his suit. So they were just going to use it as an Easter egg.
Yeah, a lot of people were saying that's a pretty cool thought that he's going through, as he's coming to and figuring out who he is, that there's the black suit. Could he be like a general like Zod, or he's going to go with the classic?
And you got to remember this with the deleted scenes that we were told by the VFX artists and everybody else that have seen this non-existent Snyder Cut.
Right.
You got to think about the scene previous for Superman in this would have been more than likely when Ma Kent is talking him down with the whole, the world is an island speech and everything. So then he comes back into the ship and he's restarting Man of Steel. This is the fucking circle right here of fucking life. Hacienda and all that shit. It is the moment where he comes back to Man of Steel, where he finds the suit, where he realizes who he is.
Yeah.
The last Kryptonian in the world.
Yeah.
Or in the whatever, the cosmos and shit like that. It's like, it's fucking perfect. And then the release and everything. It's like they got rid of that for cell phone footage of a fucked up lift with a bunch of stupid retard kids asking a bunch of dumb questions.
That doesn't get fulfilled. I will never forget, till the day that I fucking die, the guys in front of us, when I think we were seeing it a second time, and it didn't even dawn on me until the one guy's like,
Justice.
A question answered at the very beginning, or asked at the very beginning by the kids, doesn't get solved. Yeah. Like in the entire film.
What's your favorite thing about Earth or something like that?
Exactly.
And he just looks
and then he looks off in the distance, and you think that would come full circle and it would be at the end, but Joss is like, oh fuck, I messed up. Or something. The one disappointment I have in Snyder, I mean, he's my boy and all, but I don't think that there was a beard or a mullet. Kind of bummed.
Yeah, that's so fucking surprising.
Yeah.
Like, I thought for sure the way Snyder is that he would have had mullet and black suit.
Yeah.
But instead, he just did the Easter egg black suit, but no mullet and no beard.
Yeah.
I'm really surprised by that.
Kind of bummed. I thought at least like, you know, when he's in his super coma or whatever, that he would have been growing a beard. Like that would have been kind of cool. Yeah. So, something to that effect. But I don't think that was the case. I mean, who knows how his vision would have been. But that was the one thing. Like out of all this stuff that I'm seeing, I'm like, oh man, I don't think he has a fucking beard in Man of Steel. Yeah. He's got long ass hair, but you can't have him with a beard in this. Like, come on, Zach.
So like we were talking about the Alfred scene, the one that we saw in the trailer, where the landing and Hope and everything, there was speculation, could it be Green Lantern, could it be this, could it be that?
Right.
Oh, again,
Supergirl. Yeah.
It was Superman.
Yeah.
Like 99% of everybody else actually really thought.
Yeah,
It was Superman. He just walks up and, he gets the information. I mean, that scene it's just cool to have because it makes sense if you don't have what Lois says.
Right.
If you just have that whole interaction with Lois and Ma Kent, and then he goes finds a suit. If you have all that tied in, then the Alfred thing makes sense.
Right.
But in this case, with the theatrical cut, it doesn't quite make sense because she tells him everything. Why the fuck does he go visit Alfred?
Yeah. So yeah, it would be random. But I like
Master Kent
again. You must be Alfred. I like. I feel like his demeanor was way different in that small clip. The way he's carrying himself, and the way he's speaking, his voice. The way he looks, his suit, his hair, it's just so different. It's so awesome. There's this page that's on Instagram that has kind of shit all over Zack Snyder and his vision from Man of Steel to Batman v Superman, and it's infuriated me, but I still kind of see it circle around because it has like 600,000 followers. And he even today, the guy who runs the page, said, I have not liked the tone that the DCEU has been up to this point, but after seeing these scenes, it's sad that a director's vision didn't come to fruition or something. I'm paraphrasing, but something along those lines. And it blew me away that even an account that has hated Zack Snyder
a dickhead.
It's a dickhead who has hated Zack Snyder up until this point even can admit, like, you know what, this probably would have been better than what was released. And you just on a less than 30-second clip of him talking to Alfred, the guy goes, well, maybe this would have been better. And so that just, blows me away. But it's those fucking people, unfortunately, that I think force Warner Brothers to make the adjustment.
Warner Brothers just apparently, talk about reactionary, and just like they let the critics and some trolls dictate how their movie goes down. But when there's a fan petition, a website, people protesting, I mean, it's not a lot, but there was people protesting outside of fucking the WB studios. It's like they don't listen to them. It's just weird. I don't know if any of this stuff is true about we read the last article about how WB says they were expecting it to fail and all this other bullshit. And then we have the Zack Snyder possibly being fired shit. If the other article is right, that Zack Snyder and Deborah Snyder are back on Wonder Woman 2, there is a possibility we could get some kind of version of a Snyder cut. Or they will call it like an ultimate cut or an alternate cut or something to that effect.
Director's cut, something.
Something to that effect.
Well, they used...
if that is off that article.
Yeah, in the Donner version, they put the Richard Donner cut or something like that. I think it was in the marketing of Superman 2. Cut, yeah, so they can call this what everyone is calling it anyways. Fucking use the hashtag. Like you have the possibility right now, especially right now, to make so much fucking money, to have so much positive publicity.
Even the people that don't like it, I think, would have to watch it.
Yeah,
like the curiosity alone, I think, would drive people to at least try to find some way to watch it.
Exactly. Like I said, the one page that was like, it would have been cool to see this director's vision that I hated all along, finally see it through. And I agree. They and the hashtags, everything that's being put out, people on every single post about it, especially the ones by Warner Brothers. I love everyone's passion. All the people who are pushing for this Snyder cut. You click on Warner Brothers page and all their advertising. Full of
release the Snyder cut.
Even some people, I don't think are fully in the circle like we are. Not full. Yeah, like we in. Yeah, that's my gangsta dog. They're not fully invested in this, they are even asking, like, is this the director's version, the original director's version? Like, you can kind of tell, you know, they're not using the hashtag, and they're asking, like, oh, is this going to be the extended version? Stuff like that. They're using that verbiage of, like, they are expecting, oh, you did it with Batman v Superman, there must be an extended version coming out, you know? So you have the possibility right now to piggyback on that, to completely turn around, because right now everyone has no trust in Warner Brothers. You have the opportunity to completely turn that around by releasing this, and they're just holding still.
If Zack Snyder was fired, I don't think we'll ever get us any kind of cut like that. If he wasn't, and him and Deborah are actually still working with Patty Jenkins on Wonder Woman 2, and Zack Snyder, he's even said he's like back in the office or something like that, and he had that picture of Thomas Wayne in the background, that portrait and stuff like that. If he is back in touch with DC, and he's actually working with Warner Brothers and shit again, I think we will. And that will go down as a huge moment in, I think, fucking movie history for us.
Yeah. Who, do you know, you might know this better than I do. Who's working on The Fountainhead? Who's the studio backing that?
I don't know.
Because I think that's the movie that he's working on.
He's
working on,
yeah. That's the one he wants really bad.
Right. So,
and I think it's WB.
That's what I thought. So, Matt, he might still be there, and fucking fingers crossed. I really hope that he is. It'd be cool. Even if it's a year, 2 years or so, they kind of let this simmer down a little bit and then release it. I just want it to get released. Don't be 20 years. Please.
I'll be dead by then.
I know.
Anyway, so last little bit of information here on the deleted scenes. There was some storyboard release today with Darkseid. So Darkseid was speculated to be in the cut in some way or manner in a couple different ways. And he was going to kill Steppenwolf at the end after Steppenwolf failed to conquer Earth after
such a much cooler ending. But
yeah.
Alas.
And then now we have a storyboard that mimics a lot of what Snyder's done in the past with the farm scene and other ones as well that he's done. It's the same kind of drawings that he does. You know, it's like fucking kindergartner drawings and shit like that. The same kind of 8 squares and everything. And this was even kind of confirmed a little bit by some people that supposedly saw this non-existent Snyder cut. But it shows the pictures of Darkseid, the mother on a mother box, and then the mother box like either implodes or does something. And then it shows a little arc that says CE and then a space LEAG buried in sand, ruins behind it, and then the next picture is an Omega symbol in the dirt with torn buildings behind it.
Similar to the Batman v Superman nightmare scene.
Yep, what Batman saw when he looked out, there's a trashed ass city with a big Omega symbol in it. It's almost identical to that. Well, the one thing I thought was really interesting, and I pointed this out to Shane when he got here, was that you see the sign that's buried in the dirt there. It says CE space LEAG. So presumably it said Justice League. So there was going to be some kind of Justice League building, a Hall of Justice possibly. Mm-hmm. Well, that got me thinking just before Shane came over, and I'll put this on our YouTube and stuff.
To our studio.
Yeah. High-end fucking WB studio.
Exactly.
Here. That on June 15th of 2017, somebody was asking about some set photos that came out. And there was this big-ass warehouse for the Justice League shoot. And in the very tippy back, there's an arc. And it's very similar to the arc in the drawing.
Yep.
It looks like a Hall of Justice arc. And it looks like in this big warehouse, they built this big giant set with this Hall of Justice in it. That's fucking crazy to me that they built this thing and it wasn't in the fucking movie.
Yeah, spent all this money to have it, and yep, not even in the fucking movie.
But it was in storyboards. I'm presuming that this is the same picture or the same thing that was in that storyboard. So this was supposedly the thing that what you presume is that Darkseid destroyed the Hall of Justice or Justice League building,
right? In
this case, and that was the remnants that Batman was looking at.
Yep. So maybe it was another nightmare scene, or it's Flash talking about the future, what he saw. Who knows?
Apparently, the quick synopsis we got, because this came from that Release the Snyder Cut website or whatever, they put this out there. They're saying that when Cyborg jacks into the Kryptonian ship and stuff like that, something happens because of the Steppenwolf thing that was in there before with Lex Luthor, and it kicks in, and he sees this image of
that's right.
Of this happening. of this happening, and that's what causes that whole thing. And anyway, so he sees it. He sees basically Batman's nightmare scene, and it just kind of keeps continuing. And it just, again, you know, people kind of bitch about the Justice League stuff that was inserted in Batman versus Superman. But god damn, did fucking Snyder, if his cut was put out, everything that he crammed in that fucking 3-hour cut, every bit of information, from anything from fucking Man of Steel to BVS, was all going to be used or answered in some manner in his cut.
Yeah.
The Codex, the fucking, the nightmare scene now. We know what the nightmare scene was supposed to be about. Was this. The return, and then Superman was supposed to be manipulated by Steppenwolf. That's why he had that nightmare scene about Superman. That's why Batman had that type of... The key that Lois was supposedly the big guns. They loosely used that idea. But Lois was supposed to bring him back. I mean, like, every little concept, except for the dirt rising off the coffin. I'm sure.
Maybe
there was.
Well, a lot of people have speculated that's when Steppenwolf takes his body. That was kind of the starting point of like, all right, I'm gonna take the Kryptonian sun, and boom, and that's why the dirt was rising. A lot of people have speculated, and I've seen a shit ton of comments of people like making fun of that. Oh, obviously that was worthless. Do you not understand that this movie isn't fully complete?
For a movie that he stuffed the hell out of with a bunch of fucking things in it, god damn, did he have a plan to answer them all?
I've said this before, that I know that Warner Brothers, they were the ones forcing him to go, we need to expand this universe quick. This is what we want you to do. We want you to start introducing Justice League. And with that information, he was like, okay, this is what I'm going to do. And boom, he had a fucking plan. And like you said, attention to detail. That's what blows me a mind, and why blows me a mind. Wow. It's like blows my mind. And it makes me such a huge fan of Snyder and his work, is his attention to detail, his planning, especially with something that's so epic like this. He knew how everything was probably, he probably knew like, people might not accept Batman v Superman right away. It's going to be a little bit darker, but it's because Superman has to come out of the dark into the light.
For his evolution as a character, Superman's character, there's a crucible that he has to go through, sort of to really embrace his humanity, or find like, what is it? Like, what is the ultimate thing about being human? What the ultimate thing you face is your mortality. And that's a thing that I think is really, cool about this.
All this fucking shit.
Hang out with
so
Alfred.
Cool. Exactly. You must be Alfred. All right.
Turning some wrenches with Alfred on the car.
Yeah. Can I help you with that real quick?
Anyway. Oh, man. It's crazy to me. It's crazy that he was literally going to have almost everything answered, even though he was forced into that situation with Batman vs. Superman Dawn of Justice. Because I remember seeing the interview, and I've talked about this with some of our YouTube comments and stuff like that. There's an interview with Collider, if you look for it, with Zack Snyder, where he was talking about how he wanted to kill Superman, and the people at WB were like, oh, I'm not so sure about that, blah, blah, blah. He's like, oh, well, how about we just add Dawn of Justice to it, In
the movie, because I had no idea you guys were planning on basically killing Superman.
Right.
When and where did that decision come about? And was it something like, talk about when you go to the studio and say, oh, by the way, we're thinking about killing your major character?
Yeah, I wanted to do it really. It was pretty early, and Nolan and I had like a long conversation about it. Really great, sort of philosophical conversation about it. And he, he was really cool because he really played an amazing devil's advocate about why not to do it. And then in the end was like, no, you're right. It's better. And yeah, the studio was like, what? And I'm like, yeah, but the movie's, how about I call the movie Dawn of Justice?
Right.
They're like, okay. Right. I like what you're doing. But I mean, I see what you're doing.
Oh, Justice League? Like, yeah.
Right.
You start putting Justice League in it. That's fucking great. So he kind of gets like to do a couple of the things he wants to do. He gets put in a scenario where he has to build up to something else. Because he wanted Batman to be the one recruiting the Justice League, not Superman. The Superman story needed to go a different direction first. And so in order to do that, he had to cram some other things.
Yep.
But fuck, was he going to answer them all?
Yeah, absolutely.
God damn, he was determined.
And I think it would have been even more respected ultimately at the end of it.
Ultimately.
Yeah. If people didn't appreciate the Ultimate Edition, Ultimate Cut that we got, that at the end of Justice League, his version of Justice League, people would have gone, holy shit, There
Holy
was,
shit,
there was
it's
a whole plan. Yeah, there's a whole plan for all of this.
Congratulations, you made it to the end of the video. You're one of very few to make it to the end.
Yes, thank you very much.
Make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to Comic Movie Marks Podcast and hit the notification bell. You know, all these fucking YouTube channels say this shit, so I'm going to say it now.
Yes, it's perfect. And if you want to hear our full podcast, you can check out our podcast on iTunes or any other podcast subscription service.
Make sure you subscribe. Thanks again.